Hey everyone, it's your boy Play, joined by Grim, and welcome back to another installment of Countercast. Today we're going to talk about our feelings of with it dungeon meshi in Japanese. Well, in English it's delicious in dungeon, and we're also going to talk about the sub and dub sync. But before we get into that, hit it. All right, okay. So to start us off, how did you enjoy dungeon meshi?
It was a very enjoyable show for me. Definitely one of the shows that I was looking forward to once I saw the trailers for it. I was pretty excited for it and it did not disappoint. And after the ending, I'm definitely excited for the next season.
I'm Me too, man. Me too. Like when you told me about it that first time, well, a couple months now. I was like, can't be that good. And I checked out the first episode. I was like, oh shit, it's actually pretty good. It did kind of shift halfway through, and you know what I mean. We talked about it before. Did you like still find yourself enjoying it as much, or did it change your thoughts on the show when they sort of changed what the main focus of it was?
I still found myself enjoying it. I think it's one of those shows where or series better to say that it has that slow build up, right? We I can't name some off the top of my head, but you know those series where they either like Gintama. I would say
Mhm.
it's kind of similar to Gintama where uh since this one is delicious in dungeon, they use the cooking as the hook, the show grabber. But even as the tone shifted, it wasn't the cooking, it didn't feel like it was for no reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I meant by the shift. Like halfway through the show, they sort of stopped focusing on cooking, and it's like they just cooked as like an obligation. Like, oh yeah, we're a cooking show, and let's do it. But it wasn't bad per se. It just became less of a focus because, like in the first half, it was like every episode they introduced a new monster, showed different ways to cook it using Senshi's knowledge of monster anatomy and how to cook it. It was interesting. But then after what was the changing point? I guess when they really met the Red Dragon again, became like a more somber kind of feel, you know? Instead of just cooking, it was more about tracking down and trying to get Fallon back. Hmm.
I think what's also interesting is even though we did have that tone shift, the cooking still plays a very interesting part. So in the
Yeah, it does.
beginning,
They never
du-
really abandoned that.
yeah, where you have I would say now like one of the main common thing is uh, them trying to think of a solution for not only Fallon but I forgot the cat girl's name, the one that joined later on with the crew.
Oh,
But
damn. I don't remember her name either. It was like an N. Yo, she came in so late. It's really like, damn, man. Um, Keep going. I'm trying to remember her name.
the cooking, I saw it more used as I don't know if this is the right word, but an analogy. The greatest example or the main example that pops up is the egg example. Egg comparing eggs to souls.
Like making an omelet because it's kind of hard to undo that without, well, without magic, pretty much. Once you do it, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I thought that
Yeah,
was very interesting.
yeah. Got like, oh, and her name was Izitsumi.
There you
Yeah, they
go.
used the egg analogy for her and for Fallon because of their situations are. kind of the same, but not really. One's cursed to look like a cat. The other is, well, she's part dragon now. Ugh.
Yo, tell me in I think it was either no. I think it was episode 23. Tell me you didn't crack up when um he, Chill Chuck, right? Chill Chuck?
Mhm.
Tell me you didn't crack up when he revealed shit about himself. That nigga said, "Yo, I got a wife and kids, but I'm away from it."
Oh, that was so random. Like, yo, I'm pretty sure like Marcel was like, huh? What the fuck you mean you have a wife and kids? Like, if you pair that with the information you learned in the next episode, that shit, I was like, what the hell? So you're over here hunting, no, not dungeon. What do you call it? Dungeon diving? Yeah, for like months at a time. You have a wife and kids just waiting for you at home. Never come up.
The first thought I had was, "Oh, this nigga a deadbeat for sure."
Oh, you know who a real deadbeat? Fucking what's his name? Lyles, bruh. When he revealed in episode 24 that he just abandoned Fallon in the village, I was like, what? Just casually did that shit, bro?
Yeah,
He's like,
that's
oh yeah, me
crazy.
and her were never really we never fit in. We always were outcasts. That's why when I turned 15, I left. She left right away. I'm like, oh, did you take no, no, I didn't take her with me. I left her to suffer
Oh,
alone for a year, and then she got accepted into a magic school. That's when I decided to visit her. And then you know what's funny? She decided to leave the magical school and travel with me anyway. What?
it all works out in the end. What can I say?
Unless your name's Marcel.
Yo, she was bawling when she learned that backstory, bro. She was
Oh,
like,
duh. Made you feel extra sorry for Fallon. She has a strong, strong heart, mind, whatever, emotional standpoint to be able to handle all that and just chill. Like, so the little bit we got of Fallon, you saw what kind of character she was, bro. Like, she really didn't let anything bother her.
"That is true."
My gosh. But, as a show, I think Delicious in Dungeon, like, it was a pleasant surprise. I know, like, earlier, like, talked about how when you told me about it, I wasn't really expecting much from it. So that's why when I started watching, I was like, very, what, what can this be about, right? I've seen my fair share of cooking anime. That's a lie. I've only seen like three, and one of them is Shokugeki no Soma. So cooking, the cooking anime, the bar is set pretty high. The
Hmm.
Soma, that shit's one of my faves, and I can happily say, Delicious in Dungeon is right up there, bro. Like the shit is, it's not as, would you say Soma's action packed? I mean, most of the action is done through cooking. It's not
Like
as,
Food Wars.
yeah, Food Wars.
Well,
I wouldn't say
the
action.
way
No, the word is flair. I guess there's not. Yeah, there's not much flair. There's definitely way more showmanship in Food Wars than there is in Dungeon Meshi. Dungeon Meshi is like that time. Like you come home from work, you just want to chill, relax, put it on the oven. It's like cooking is a nice escape for you.
I would say, I mean, I pretty much expected it to be a good show and an interesting ride. Like for me, one thing that I really do enjoy is those fantasy anime genre. I mean, I know we do have isekais, but there's a big difference between isekai and actually a fantasy
Of course, there is.
series. So it was definitely enjoyable, especially with the premise of the cooking. Something
Hmm.
you don't really often see too much, and I hope to see more.
Luckily, at the time of this recording, season two has been announced, so at least we're gonna get more Dungeon Meshi. But I kind of want to talk about my feelings overall of the story. I do feel like the season ended on kind of a wouldn't say low note, but it just kind of fell flat. You know, like all every episode felt like something new was introduced, or you learned a little bit more about the setting or the characters. And it kind of just that's why when episode 24 ended, it felt like it just ended. Like, well, that's it, guys. Pack it up. And I was like, huh? Like, understandably, right? The main plot point wasn't resolved, so you're gonna feel a little empty when you think about it like that. So thank God for a season two announcement. But even then, a lot of shows they try to find a good spot to end, and this just felt like it ended right in the middle of a like how do you even say it? Like in the middle of an arc? Was it an arc? Or yeah, story arc because they got in an elevator. Did they even get off the elevator at the end of the episode, or were they just still talking in it when it ended?
Basically, they're still in the elevator, and since she
Exactly.
was about to cook,
Exactly. You don't even see the conclusion of that moment. You just, all right, see you next season. So that's kind of where I feel like it fell sort of flat, which, you know, the last couple episodes were leading up to something like this. You just gotta, like episode 22 or something, you just got a random backstory for Senshi, which, hey, I enjoyed it. I like to learn more about my dog. Very fucked up backstory. You know, can you imagine if it wasn't hippogriff meat? How would you feel?
keep it pushing.
Hey, you know what? I respect that. Your homeboy did what he had to do. Make sure you survived. Don't cry about it, you know?
Hey, you're in the dungeon too, so
Ooh, yeah, yeah. But beyond that, you know, like you said, that little bit of information we got randomly got of Chilchuck. We still don't know much about Marcel. Now that I think about it, or well, it's just me. She got like introduced 5 years ago, so obviously we're not gonna know much about her. But like Marcel, like as a character, she was cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. She pissed me off when the show started. I thought she was annoying as fuck. Cause every time they picked up some food to cook, she had something to say, something to complain about. I'm like, yo, bruh. After the third or fourth time, just shut up and enjoy the meal. You know you're gonna like it. You liked everything so far. He's like, oh, but I can't get over the fact that we're eating like a griffin. Like, so what? So what? This is your life now. Y'all are broke. You do what you got to do to survive. So shut up. And eventually she kind of cooled down and just accepted it. So I made her a lot more. I wouldn't say bearable. She wasn't annoying, but she became a lot more likable. Right. So towards the end, she became one of my favorite characters.
interesting. Would you also, what's her name? It's Zumi.
It's I
Would
don't
you
hate her.
also,
Hmm?
did she annoy you because she also had the
No, 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 no,
similar
no.
outlook on food?
Nah. Uh, it sounds kind of hypocritical, but she was actually funny about it. Like her reactions made it more amusing because she didn't want to not eat because of it's monster food. She was just picky, extremely picky, right? Like she'd want to like a child. Oh, I don't want to eat vegetables. Oh, I don't want to eat this. Oh, I don't want to eat that. You're like, oh, okay. Maybe it would have gotten more annoying if more episodes went by, but I feel like after like episode 2 or 3 episodes, she just like, yeah, whatever. She'll just eat it. Like, let me ask you this: do you remember when they made dumplings? Did you notice the little detail about the dumplings they made?
Towards the end?
Yeah,
Yeah.
how every dumpling she made had a little hair in it, and I thought that was funny as fuck. And it's crazy that no one mentioned anything about that. They all just ate the dumplings without even saying anything about the hair because she turned into I remember the species, man. Like that's another thing about the show. It showed a lot more different kind of species of monsters than I knew existed. Maybe it made some up, or maybe it just pulled some from all fantasy media. I don't know, but shit. Now I got more knowledge, I guess.
I do think that is the interesting aspect of it. Um, I will say the negative aspect that it has is it doesn't take that much time to flesh them out because they just come and go. But when they introduce I believe it's called the changeling spores.
Yeah,
You
that
saw
was actually
them.
cool.
You saw them again. So I heard she was a cat person, and then she just changed to the dog
Dog,
breed.
cat ears.
No, it was a dog. It was a completely dog breed. She changed to
No, didn't they mention that the cat ears was like the big, like why she was just a pure dog?
no, no, because we saw the same character earlier, and she looked exactly like him.
Hmm. I suppose. All right. Yeah, Chill Chuck became a what the fuck is a tall man? Like that's just a
Human,
normal human.
yeah.
Okay.
That's their version of human.
A human. And then then she became an elf. Fallon became no, not Fallon. Marcel became a short man.
Yeah,
Is that what Chill Chuck is? A half foot.
yeah.
A half foot. And then Laz became a dwarf.
Hmm.
And Kensuke, that nigga, I don't know what that guy became. He became a whole different kind of sword.
He evolved.
He
This is
evolved,
my
and then
final
they
form.
they forced him to change back. Rip my dog Kensuke. Rip my dog. Anyway, yeah, the changing thing is an interesting concept, especially with the fact that you step into the ring and you turn into something else. It works on inanimate objects. Well,
I
inanimate objects.
It does work on both, but I what I will say is in terms of characters, the character combo that I thought that was really interesting and especially played a vital role within the group was Laios and Senshi.
Oh yeah,
Their
well, that's a
knowledge,
dynamic duo.
yeah, but it's more so the knowledge that Laios has about these different monsters and creatures in the dungeon really is amazing, and it helps them out. Like for him to actually figure out that it wasn't a griffin, but it was the
The
different
hippogriff.
thing. I didn't
Yeah,
even expect that.
yeah, the whole change thing. That was a crazy twist, and having Laos be the one to figure it out. Honestly, especially because after like the whole show of all the characters pretty much looking at Laos like he's a fucking idiot, but really, dude is smart as hell. He just has strange interests, and it coming to a head like that, if
Mhm.
he's able to help Senshi overcome his trauma, I was like, oh shit.
Oh yeah,
Like you know deep down, well, not deep down. This guy's a pretty open book, but like Laos he's a nice guy. Like he is not an asshole.
he just likes eating creatures.
Yeah, yeah. You know, who don't like eating a little bit of creatures in their life? You know.
So, but I did think that was pretty interesting. And when it comes time to it too, he stands on business too. Like he has that dog in him.
Okay, buddy. Yo. Yeah, yeah. He for sure have that dog in him, man. He proved that multiple times. Mm-mm. Like
Exactly.
he's first to bat. Like he really did. Wow, I almost started there, but because I'm trying to remember when Fallon fell into that like dream state, and they revealed like yeah, someone has to go in there after her, or she'll die, and if they fail, they'll die
Hmm.
too. He didn't even hesitate. He's like, yeah, I'll go with her. I'm like, oh shit, that's a real nigga.
And also the dragon too. He
Oh yeah,
lost an arm. I think he lost it. Yeah, he lost an arm or a forearm.
yeah. To be fair, once they revealed that dying doesn't matter in the dungeon, that shit kind of it don't hit the same. Like I get what you mean, like oh yeah, he's gonna lose a limb, but man, if you can die and be revived, shit, it don't matter. Yeah, but all yeah, he's a very cool guy. How did you feel about the other parties?
They were interesting, and well, it was only two others, but they were interesting. They just should have been. It would have been interesting to see them a little bit more. I did find it interesting how Lyos's party it kept interacting with the other guy's party and basically ended up saving them multiple times. So
Mm,
that was interesting.
let me see. What's his name? Kabaru?
Yeah, his party. Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. He's cool, and that's another actual point that I just remembered. His whole plot line is still unresolved. Remember, he went to like the councilman and told them about the shit, and they were like, "All right, moving out. We're gonna go head to the dungeon and handle that." And that still hasn't come up.
Well, towards is gonna be in season 2. Towards
Yeah,
the
yeah,
end
yeah,
of
yeah. Hey, did you read the manga?
no.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to assume, like most, no, not most, all anime, you watch that shit and sub, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I watched it dub, and it was an interesting experience, right? Because usually, and I mean that usually when I watch anime, I'm usually late to the party, unless it's really good, and I just sit there and watch the sub. I'm usually late to the party on discussions. I'm like, oh, this anime's good. This anime is amazing, or this is trash, right? Like you would watch something, and then I'd watch it like a month or two later, text you about it. You're like, oh yeah, yeah, I remember that, and that's kind of how our conversations about anime would go. However, this time, because of Netflix's decision to keep the dub and sub in sync, we were able to pretty much enjoy it week to week together. That shit was different, man. I mean, it's not the first time Netflix has done something like that. Pretty sure there was another anime called My Love Story. Is it My Love Story? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. It might be my. I don't know if it's my love story.
No,
Maybe it
My
might
Love
have.
Story is a whole different one.
Maybe it might have marriage in it or something.
My Marriage Story?
I don't
My
know.
Marriage My Happy Marriage? Yeah, My Happy Marriage. That was another anime that came out, and it did a weekly with the whole dub and sub at the same time kind of deal. And Netflix is doing that more and more, right? Because I remember they used to get not used to, they got heavily criticized on the way they handled their anime, right? Like I'm sure you remember. Let me let me say this right now. I don't watch JoJo's, never will. Don't even try to convince me. But even I, as a guy from the outside, saw the way they handled Stone Ocean, and I was like, damn, that is kind of crazy.
I think it was a. If I remember correctly, it was a two-parter.
It
I
was
think.
like, yeah, it was a two-parter, and basically it aired in Japan, and they didn't put it on Netflix for like 6 or 7 months because they just didn't want to put anime on weekly at the time, and people were so mad at Netflix. Like, what? By the time you put it on, all the hype is gone. Why would you do this? Where's the dub? Blah blah blah. So the Netflix stood on that. They did that for both parts, and people were like, wow, that they really killed the hype of Stone Ocean. They people thought it should deserved to be much. Wow, I'm stuttering here. They thought it deserved to be much bigger than it was. Like, oh my gosh, it should have been at the forefront. It should have been trending on Twitter every week. Blah blah blah. But because Netflix handled it so poorly, it's nothing. People don't even know it exists. And from the outside, I felt kind of bad for JoJo fans. Not really.
I don't
I felt
think.
kind of bad for JoJo fans. Like, damn, yeah, I can imagine watching an anime and having all the hype just ripped from it because of the way it's handled. But at the same time, I was like, hey, eventually you're getting it, right? Like, you'll just wait a couple months and it'll be there. Like, I don't know what the whole hubbub's about. But after experiencing watching it weekly as it's new, because it's finally dubbed, I was like, oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah, this probably would have been better if probably would have been a lot more better received if Netflix just did what they did here back then. So, hmm, good on them for switching up their release patterns. right?
Yeah, I would say it's interesting. If they can continue it up, then they can it will either cause the competition to adapt, or they
Kind
could
of already is.
how
Look at,
so?
I mean, look at Crunchyroll. I don't know if it's cause of the way Netflix does their shit now, but the way Crunchyroll is, it's pushing the hell out of Kaiju Number 8, and they're doing exactly that. They're doing the dub and sub simultaneously, week to week, so both sides can watch it at the same time and enjoy it together. And I'm like, damn, that is actually really cool. When you like, because right now we're both watching Kaiju Number 8. We saw episode 10. You saw a sub. I saw a dub, but we still had the same experience. And speaking of which, hey man, that shit's crazy, bruh. I really was hoping for it. I was like, dog, when I watch anime, bro, I need the main character to flex. Okay, like, I ooh like I can enjoy a story where he holds back and hides himself, but stuff like we talked about it already. But Eminence in Shadow, that show's amazing. Right? I love it. It's hilarious, very good. But I just despise how the main character moves, bro. Buddy is so OP, and he's like, nah, bro, I don't want no one knowing it's me. So I'm gonna have a secret identity, and I'm just gonna do stupid things because why the fuck not? Who gonna stop me? You know what I mean? Like, dude, he did not have to kill that girl's dad, and then just sit here and let her think that her dad was a good man. No, her dad was a piece of shit. And he just like, nah, bro. I'm gonna let her stew in her hatred because I don't ordain it. Is that are you using that word correctly? Ordain, but you know what I mean, right? Like he doesn't feel like it's worth his time to explain the situation. I'm like, dude, you're pissing me off. So in Kaiju Number 8, when the main character has his Kaiju powers and he could literally solve a lot of problems quickly as fuck, he's just like, nah, man, I'm just gonna sit here and be a bum.
Kaiju number 8 is while your point is good and I do agree with it, just for the storyline and plot point, it's a whole different thing because
Hey, I watched Attack on Titan. I understand. I look. I know I'm being unreasonable. He should not reveal his power because of the whole reaction he might get from the defense force. I get that, right? I'm just being unreasonable. Go on.
no, but that was the perfect setup for him to reveal the power because
That's true.
it leads to since I read the manga and I know what's going on, but I won't say anything. It's essentially a turning point. And you said this is last episode was 10, right?
Hmm.
I don't know how the season is going to end. I think it's going to be 12 episodes. I don't know how it's going to end,
Yeah, it's gonna be
but
12, and they already have just like Dungeon Mesh. They already have season 2 in the works.
but it's going to show why that is pretty much important sooner or later. Just
All
like
right.
it did for Attack on Titan.
You know, there's something though. While we're on the subject of Kaiju Number 8, you know, because I enjoy it so much, I'm gonna lay some criticisms on it that I just don't understand. Right? Why is Kafka 32 years old? You know, like at one point I thought that would be an interesting plot point. Like, oh, he's older than the typical shonen main character, so he's gonna have these older mannerisms and prove that age is nothing but a number. Well, crazy. That age don't mean much when it comes to being a main character, right? But the way he carries himself, the way he talks, everything he does, like, would it matter if this man was 16? You know what I mean? Like he acts like a teenager, right? Like, all right,
Yes,
crazy slander about the
it
this is
would
crazy
matter.
slander about to lay out my dog, right? My man Kafka, right? 32 years old, is beefing with a teenage girl. Like, what, bro? If you don't get your ass off Kikuru's dick, like this nigga is all like, bro, bro. What are you doing? You're a grown man. You got bills to pay. And you worried about what a teenage girl thinks? Like, dog. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Right? Now it's maybe it's to make it feel more. I don't know. Was the word pathetic? It make it feel because like he's 30. He's like the oldest nigga in his squadron, and just on paper he's the weakest. But we know he's not. Like, but on paper he's the weakest. So people they look at him with this weird sense of respect and like admiration, but like not really because he's their subordinate, right? When it comes to power, he's below everybody. Yet with age and experience, he's above everybody. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, Kafka's one of the boys. He's us." Like blah blah blah. I'm like, this doesn't really matter that he's 32 though. Like if you just put him at 16, like now I understand, right? Like his relationship with Mina would
Mhm.
change if he was 16, but then you could just make Mina like 18 or make her a prodigy too and just make them the same age. Like I didn't realize that he was 5 years older than her, bro, until like they brought it up in like episode. I don't remember the episode, but they brought it up and I was like, oh, she's she's only 27. Oh, okay. Then why does it matter? He's 32. Like I just don't understand. Like I feel like the I keep harping on it, but it just doesn't make sense to me. This dude is a grown man for no reason. This is a definitely a story where a teenage man character would make more sense.
How?
Because the way he interacts with everyone in the cast, he doesn't interact like a grown man. This dude is like I told you, a grown man does not sit there and worry about what a 16-year-old girl is thinking. Now, okay, damn, I'm harping on it like it's weird. It's not weird, okay? Because he's just acting childish. But like, why? Why make him act childish? They'd rather just make him a child.
I mean, I get your point. There is that aspect of it, but I mean, you
Okay.
just go down to first off
Mm-hmm.
his character and also how the story was introduced.
Mm-hmm.
You can't the story will have to change entirely, and you probably would have if you have a young character,
Mm-hmm.
you naturally have to make them a prodigy, so you wouldn't have the story where he feels like he can't get into the defense force. You wouldn't have the plot line where they said that they increased the thing. So the
Yeah,
start
I
of it,
no, actually, yeah, I get that. I get that. Go
and
on.
you wouldn't, and also then you just completely change his character and the value that he provides to where if he's young, there's no reason for him to be knowledgeable about kaiju organs, dissecting them and stuff like that. So then
Mm,
you will just have to completely switch up the story and most likely make
yeah.
him a prodigy.
Well, him being a prodigy doesn't like it's fine if he is. You know, like
No,
look at
but
Aaron.
it does no, but it does significant you would essentially have a different story.
Okay,
The
hear
story
me out.
wouldn't be the same. You can't put a 16-year-old Kafka and have the same story. It wouldn't make sense.
Okay, now let me hit you with this. Then
Okay.
explain Reno Ichikawa's point in the story. All right. When I first started this show, I thought he was the main character. You know, he has the main character design. He has the white hair, the age. He fit right.
Mhm.
So that's why when they revealed that it was Kafka, I was like, oh, now I wasn't disappointed. Like I like Kafka, he's cool. But everything you just said about him being a prodigy, the story about him being a failure, all of that, like you could still have that. You know, Reno fills that role. Reno's not a failure. Obviously, he's a prodigy. We could tell with the way the story is progressing for the anime. This man is about to be something different because he's just progressing way faster than everyone else. But
Mhm.
that undertone of being like, oh man, I'm on my last try. If I don't make it this year, I'm really not gonna have done anything with my life. That really kind of goes out of the window when you realize just what he's been given, right? Now, maybe this is from just an anime only perspective. Like you said, you read the manga, so maybe you know more of what's to come. But I feel like that whole angle is just done away with the fact that Kafka is one of the strongest kaijus to ever exist, right? Like he's literally one tapping, one tapping major threats. It's like
Mhm.
okay. He now understandably when he I can tell like when real bigger threats come, it's not just gonna be one shots galore everywhere. But him having that kind of power already diminishes the fact that he's supposedly weaker than everybody. When we know under the surface he is the strongest one there. Like he's
Mhm.
stronger than the vice captain. He's stronger than Kikuru. Debatably if he's stronger than Mina, but I assume at this point in the
So
story he is.
so then let me let me ask you this.
Hmm.
If he was a prodigy,
He doesn't have to be a prodigy.
but that okay, if he was 16, same thing happens.
He could be 18.
So okay, niggas just changing up
No,
numbers.
I'm not changing.
Like
I'm not changing. I'm just. I know when I said
he could be
16
eight.
earlier, but I wasn't thinking of Reno. Reno is 18, and he's already like okay because Reno's 18, and you said why didn't he could have bring in the kaiju knowledge. Reno has the knowledge. Of course, he learned that from Kafka, and Kafka from years and years of being in the Kino
Reno
course.
first of all, Reno only I wouldn't even say Reno has knowledge like that. It's more so he did it. There's a difference between doing it and then having knowledge. You're not We have yet to see him like apply that knowledge to what his mission. We know that since he's a prodigy and he could utilize the tech and the suit very well, he can create different combinations to take down kaiju. But I haven't seen once where that nigga is like, "Oh, I know this type of kaiju. Aim for like." It was Kafka when they were being under attack by the base. It was Kafka who made every like. Think about that.
Hmm.
Think about the discrepancy and how um it's still going to be an interesting story, but how different the story would have to play out. They get raided by this new kaiju, and then you see a whole bunch of the bird kaiju.
Hmm.
All these niggas that's on the defense force have no idea what's going on. Kafka, due to his prior knowledge of, I forgot uh what it was called before, but basically cleaning up and dissecting kaiju,
Cleanup crew, pretty much.
because of his prior experience, he was able to help them
Figure out
or
their
get
weak points.
figure out the weak points and think of a game plan.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah,
am I saying
I'm not gonna. That's invaluable. But when that is low key a plot hole when you think about it, because kaiju I know I'm cutting you off, but kaiju have been around pretty much forever in this world, right? Like as long as humanity has been a thing, kaiju's well no. Kaiju's okay, man, misunderstood. But kaiju has been attacking for years, right? Way
Mhm.
like hundreds of years, kaiju have just been around humanity. Like society has developed around the idea of kaiju. Okay, to the point where they have a whole ass force of people whose their only job is to kill them. Right? They don't got to do nothing else. They don't got to worry about cleaning this shit up. They don't got to worry about fucking where they come from. None of that. They just gotta be ready on standby when they show up to kill them. That's the whole point of their division. Okay.
Uh-huh.
If they've been around for this long, shouldn't even in the in the fucking in the opening exam that they took, they thought it was just gonna be a knowledge check of kaiju because they realized, yo, it would be useful if all of our defense force soldiers had at least some knowledge on all the kinds of kaiju they'd fight, right? So why don't they?
Hmm.
Like, why is that not like something that they just force these people to learn on like a curriculum through school or whatever? Because they go to academies for this shit. I just feel
Because
like,
even if it is a plot hole, is just the pretty simple fact that those in the defense force are more focused at utilizing the suit's power and the tech that they have, because that tech, essentially wearing the suit, makes you, and if you could unleash most of the potential, it makes you on the level of a kaiju.
yeah,
So if you're already on that level, are you gonna say, yeah, let me get extra information? In hindsight, you should, but
yeah.
like,
Let's say if it's my job to kill these things, I'm going to learn as much as I can about these things. You know,
sure, but just with how the story is going,
and
that's just not how the defense force is. So there is that purpose
it
for.
doesn't even have to be the defense force. Now that you think about it, like those niggas in the fucking computer room, that's not a luck. They could be the ones to just relay information to them from the freaking from the safety of the base. Now, you can't just say, "Oh, they should do this or that," because they're not on the front lines. They can't see what those guys see. So maybe there's like some difference. But don't they have like drone cameras following them around to see what they see?
Mhm.
So, yeah, like I'm not trying to diminish what you're saying, but I understand Kafka's knowledge is invaluable and has provided a lot of help to him so far. But I'm just saying, like, this is something that like,
Oh,
it's so helpful, in
basically,
fact, that it's kind of unbelievable that no one else decided to go this route. You know, like you're right. If he didn't tell these niggas about the bird shit, they might have been fucked. I was like, wow, you know,
either or, it will just be a different story. At the end of the day, you make him 18 or whatever, and you still give him the power of the kaiju. It will be a different story unless you say that man was in that cleanup crew at an early age, or he, at an early age, he didn't have his hatred. At an early age, his hatred for kaiju turned into fascination or something. That,
I
because
mean, you
other than
could
that, you would have to find a different way for them to defeat him.
out of
It's
the
just,
way, right?
you would, right? There was a situation where if he didn't tell them, because there was another kaiju.
It was
uh
during the test, right?
I don't think it was during the test. It was that first time where they were showcasing Mina, but it was where there was the small kaiju, and then he said, "Oh, these guys have reproduction organ." Is when we understood that there was another kaiju that could turn into a human. You remember that episode? And
Mm-hmm.
he pieced up Reno and the other nigga,
Yeah, he took
right? And he was saying, "Oh shit, how did these guys figure out that they have reproduction organs? That's odd." Right?
yeah, I
You would
agree. I agree. That was another instance. But I just keep going back to the fact that, like, why does this not just be knowledge that they spread through everybody?
I mean, it's just how it goes. I know I'm not explaining it the best way, but it's not. If you want to fill in the holes, it's not that complicated to see that some factions don't work closely with other factions, or they feel like they're mightier than thou and don't really pay attention to them.
That's true. That's true. Right. And I did mention it earlier. And is it an elephant in the room? No, 'cause it's not really something that shouldn't be addressed. But Attack on Titan. Okay, Kaiju number 8. and Attack on Titan, let's be for real, they have a lot of similarities in terms of their story structure or what they are trying to accomplish, right?
Mhm.
So, in Attack on Titan, Aaron is 15, let's say 15, 16 when the story, no, 15. He's 15 when the story starts, and he, I mean, he is a prodigy when, like, more like in hindsight that he's a prodigy, but like in the context of the art of the survey corps and all that shit, Aaron, he ain't nothing special, you know, crazy, right? He finished top 5 in his class, but he ain't nothing special when it comes to the real big dogs. Okay, and him being able to turn into Titan was something that was integral to the plot, and it came up multiple times, and he was able to assist them because he's able to turn into Titan. Now, when you watch Kaiju number 8, you're thinking, oh, if you watch that, like, oh, it's the same kind of story where he's going to do that, be an invaluable source. Oh, yes, he is. He's basically the same thing. It's just a different vibe because there's less. I guess there's less dread when it comes to kaiju's, right? Which is crazy because kaiju's are way, way more destructive than titans are, right?
Mhm.
But it doesn't feel like in Attack on Titan when you see a titan show, you're like, oh, will these people survive? They're hooked. They're fucked. They're fucked. Oh my god! But then in Kaiju number 8, Kaiju shows up because we see how easily the defense force can dispatch a lot of these dudes. You're like, okay, it's just a
No,
minor inconvenience.
it's not only that. I think it's how they are introduced and what their purpose serves. When you compare to Titans,
And
uh,
episode
uh,
one, you
not,
saw like a just slaughter a lot of people.
number one, you saw the slaughter, but it was even more on the, I wouldn't say scary, but you felt dread because they want to eat people. You
Hmm.
later find out the reason why they do, but they are, anytime they see people, they're going to go after you,
Yeah,
and
that's their
you
main
figure
goal.
out why.
Hmm.
But when you look at kaiju's,
They
that's
just
not
want
their
to fuck shit
goal.
up.
Yeah, they're just fucking shit up. There, you don't see any kaiju eating. The only reason why they're doing it is like, yo, you guys, these motherfuckers are causing destruction. Let's stop it. You don't see any kaiju eating people.
Yeah,
You
you don't see them. You don't see them killing people, right? Not that's what I'm getting at. Like the threat level, like kaiju. That on them, if you're comparing them, like kaiju to titan, kaiju they're way more dangerous. Like I really would rather face a titan than a kaiju. I'm fucked either way, but I feel like a titan is a lot more something.
predictable.
Yeah, a lot more predictable, easier to like dodge and maneuver around. Like kaiju, like dude, what do you do? Like
Hmm.
they had like that moment in episode 2, right? When Kafka saved that mom and daughter. When they're like they could have showed that, oh yeah, this is crazy. Kaiju just leave bodies in their wake. No, they just destroy buildings. And not even to the way that it cripples society. Like society just like they shrug that shit off like, all right, man,
I
another kaiju attack. Oh.
I will say though, there was in the beginning, I think it was episode 1, or I don't know if it was 1 or 2, where they were running for that one kaiju, and that kaiju did seem like a threat.
Yeah, no, they okay. They are, yeah, they are threats, like
They
to a
are a
normal
threat.
person, right? And I guess that's maybe what the main thing here is, right? Because we're looking at this from the perspective of the defense force. These niggas are trained to handle these guys, so of course they're not gonna fear them. There's not gonna be any
Oh,
dread when they run up on these people.
I think I understand you, because even in Attack on Titan, the Survey Corps, even though they are equipped to handle them, they weren't invincible.
Oh, trust me, yeah, they
We
weren't.
we
In
we
episode
saw
one,
bodies.
they they made us know, man. Like them boys, they lose like wasn't it like a 90% mortality rate or some shit like that?
Yeah, something like
Like,
that.
and you're just like, damn. Like, bro, that scene of Aaron being excited to see his heroes come back, and they all just come walking through town looking defeated, carrying body bags. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, damn, that is.
How would you how would you react? Do you remember that episode season 1 of Attack on Titan where the female Titan was on the run in the forest
Yeah.
and she just brutalized,
Brutalized
decimated.
Levi squad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Would you say what would you say if you saw that happen in Kaiju number 8?
that would be like a slap in the face. All right. Like we've been saying this whole time, these niggas have been shown to be very calm and collected in the face of these kaiju threats. So to
Mhm.
have one just show up out of nowhere and slaughter their squad,
What
oh my
about
god!
what about the latest one, the red Kaiju?
Like yeah, even him, right? Even that, you're like, oh, this is a real guy. This is a real one, bro. He's gonna fuck him up, bruh, bruh. Levi, I'm calling him Levi. You know exactly what I'm talking about if you watch the show. Levi over there was just piecing him up, right? He was
Mhm.
piecing them up, and then when he turned giant, Levi was still doing something. You know, he was like, "Ah, I'm gonna buy time for Mina to show up, right?" And then Mina showed up and one shot him, uh, two shot him, right? Yeah, two shot him. She exposed his core and hit him again. You're like, bruh, you got Loki a bitch. I'm not gonna lie, right? But I guess that just goes to show how just how strong humanity have developed to combat this kaiju threat. And it's like, but like, hmm, damn. I just thought about it. I'm like, yo, I don't want to sit here and call Kaiju an Attack on Titan clone because it's not. It's its own thing. It just has a very similar. The only real similarity is just the Kaiju and Titans range. That's it. So basically, so Kikuru, right? That's her name, the
Mhm.
blonde girl.
Mhm.
She's like this story's Mikasa, right? Except where Mikasa was emotionless and dry, right? Kikuru is very emotional, very driven, very outgoing. So she's
Tsundere.
yeah, yeah. And her being as strong as she is, like the squad prodigy, like even to the point where they're like, you know what, this is very unusual, but we're gonna unofficially make you the third in command and give you your own weapon. You know, we don't usually do this to rookies, but you're just that strong, right?
Mhm.
When she came in with the little action, you're like, whoa, whoa. And that's what I mean. Like, she got fucked up, right, in the training exam. And instead of letting that be like, oh, I'm gonna be depressed, I'm gonna let this hold me back. She got right back up and just straight on the front line again. Right? These niggas do not fear kaiju. It does not put no fear in their heart whatsoever. That's what I'm getting
Right.
at. Like
Yeah.
even the niggas on the survey corps. I mean, yeah, if you're not an Ackerman, obviously, Ackermans didn't care. Them niggas just built different. But even the survey corps people, their job is the front lines to fight. They go into Titan territory, and even they still hesitate to fight Titans. But these guys, rookies, bro, like these guys do not care. They're like,
They
oh,
on your ass.
literally, bro, like they do not have no type of fear. That's different, right? Like kind of unrealistic when you think about it. Like these are wait, the size of these things and no one cares. Like whoa, okay, I guess, right? Like on the
Take
battlefield,
care of business.
on the battlefield, I forgot his name. They like have casual conversations, like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna run point. I'm gonna be the frontline guy. You support me. No, I'm gonna be this." Like they're arguing about stuff like that in the wake of danger. Like, whew, whew, man, man. And the crazy part, is, like I said, it's not that they're arrogant. Like we see what the defense force is able to do. them niggas can really handle these threats. Like it's not like, dude, dude, we saw the invasion in episode like 8 and 9, right?
Hmm.
Something like that, that should cripple you. No, they handled that shit systematically. They're like, nah, 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 nah. I don't care if there's like 100 giant kaiju birds shitting all over our base. I don't care if there's a bunch of small little ones running through the city. I don't care if there's this giant. No, we're gonna handle that, and they do with little to no. I said little, no casualties whatsoever. Not even someone losing an arm. Right? That you brought up earlier. Reno and the other nigga got fucked up by number 9. And they walked that shit off.
Yep. They did get hospitalized. You do see them get hospitalized if it's like very serious, but yeah, at the same time, yeah, they walk that shit off after a week or two, right?
Yeah, and that's mainly because of the advancements in the healing technology that they have, which is fine. That's just the kind of world they live in.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, okay, now like so far, Kaiju No, it's been very enjoyable. Like we've talked about where the story is going, how Kafka interacts with his world. And I know you said like him being 18 and not losing that knowledge would change the story around, but I feel like there is a way to like craft a narrative to fix that, right? Like maybe instead of, oh, I've tried multiple times and I failed each time to make the defense force, and this is my last try because they just raised the age limit to like 33 or some shit. They could just have him be kicked out or like flunk out because he has zero combat power, right? And they're like, no, we're not even gonna try risking niggas with zero combat power in the front line. So get out. And I was like, oh, yeah, that could be how the whole underdog story. But
Yeah, I'm not saying you wouldn't have anything to work with. I'm just saying I ain't an
it'd be
author.
different.
It should
Yeah,
be different, and I ain't an author, so I
true,
don't know.
true, true, true. But I mean, yeah, I'm excited to keep going. And boy, the ending song is such a vibe, bro. Like, oh man, Wonder Republic, y'all cooked that shit, man. Y'all really did. Nobody. Man. It's kind of funny how the song comes in and kind of ruins the vibe of the show. Like episode 10, the ending where everyone's pointing their guns at Kafka. You're like, and then you just hear, I. Like, oh, okay. Okay. And then there you go. You're vibing to the ending song. Like you didn't just see a crazy plot, well, not a plot twist, but you crazy plot point occur. But
Yeah,
that's for you.
hey, they manage. You know what I'm saying? They manage.
Mm-hmm. All of that. And how far ahead of you are you caught up on the manga, or are you like just like maybe a couple arcs ahead of where the anime's at?
No, I'm caught up in the manga.
Oh shit, it's good.
Yeah, it's good. I
Okay.
would say it's good.
Whew. Okay. Now on the subject of dub and sub synchro, Yu-Gi-Oh. On the subject of dub and sub synchronization, you haven't been watching any like Crunchyroll movies in theaters, have you?
No,
Well, okay, I have, and it's just very interesting how more mainstream anime has gotten because of the just I don't know the way it's been evolving in the West. That now we have these movies coming out in theaters, and people just coming together to go watch these movies. Now, from my perspective, these theaters aren't getting sold out, right? Like I'm not even sure if they're really making money for real because of how little these theaters be packed. But hey, being able to go see the Spy Family movie in a movie theater, that shit was nice. I also went to go see Haikyuu, the dumpster movie in theaters. That shit was also nice. And I'm planning next week, at the time of this recording, of course, to go see the Blue Lock Nagi movie. And I'm like, just thinking about how like 5, 6, 7 years ago, this shit was not even like a thing you could think about. You want to see an anime movie, you gotta shit. You almost got to sail the high seas to find a rip of it, and then watch it through that. Because, bruh, why is it so hard to find these movies?
Because we're in America.
Yeah, yeah, man. Like the My Hero movie, bro. The third one. Pretty sure that's still not on any streaming service. The only way to watch that is to just buy it outright on like Apple TV or whatever. I'm like, dang, I don't want to buy the movie. I just want to watch it. And if I like it, maybe I'll buy it.
I would say, I mean, it's a nice experience, but shit, if I have a good ass TV, I'll have it. I'll just play it at home.
Oh, I mean, that's just your philosophy on all movies, ain't it?
No, there's
There's movies you'd rather see in theaters.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
but when it comes to anime movies, I guess I'd rather stay home.
Mm. Is it the trauma, man? The trauma
Uh,
of being made fun of in middle school that makes you want to keep your anime love private. Hey,
No,
man, look, look,
no,
you
how,
can talk. You can talk to me about it if you really want to, bro. I understand. I've been
nigga,
through
we
it.
went to see Dragon Ball, bro. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
straight.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, hey,
Like I'm
hey.
good.
Okay, so then what's the problem, bro?
I'm just saying, like I just rather enjoy it at home. I'm just
Okay,
saying.
all right, fair enough. Fair. If there's no trauma, then there's nothing to talk about. Got it.
And plus, it just depends too. Like for example, if it's not hype, like Demon Slayer, Dragon Ball
Oh yeah, I
level,
saw Demon Slayer in theaters too.
you know, you might have a hard time, but it just depends.
True, fair, fair. All right. So, is there I don't know. That's an awful segue. I was trying to figure out a way to bring up any new anime that on your radar because we're pretty much at the end of this season, right? Like episodes are wrapping up. Like I'm pretty sure was this week the last episode of Windbreaker, or is there one more next week?
Mm, I don't know. Most likely watching the episode over the weekend. I've been busy this week, so I didn't even watch it on Thursday.
Hmm.
So I'd have to double check. What I
Okay.
will say though, what did you think of? No, I don't know who. I can't say because you're not sub. But I guess it was popping on Twitter. What did you think of last week Mushoku Tensei? You know what I'm talking about?
No, no, I did not. Not even a little bit. Did something
Yeah,
crazy happen? I mean, if you want to talk about it, you can, bro. Like,
so basically, Turning Point 3 last week, Sunday was Father's Day, and they delayed the episode. And the episode that aired on Father's Day was nigga's dad dying.
wait, was the main character's dad?
Yeah.
Okay, that explains a lot actually. Because
It was devious work,
no,
bro.
no, 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 no. That happened before. That happened before. That happened before. I know it happened before. Anime fathers. Oh my gosh. Damn. There was like a thing. Was it last year on Father's Day? Someone's father didn't die. It was actually good. I don't remember, but that explains a lot because I was called recently. So I was like, "Dang, bro, they really murked that nigga's dad on Father's Day." I was like, "What? What are you
they
talking about?"
they really did, bro. They really did. I was
I-
like,
Do they even celebrate Father's Day in Japan? That could just be a coincidence.
nah, bro. The people on the production team, they're like, oh yeah, we about to cook for real. Watch this.
Mm-mm.
And oof, the way he went out, damn. That's all
Yeah,
I can say.
damn indeed.
But yeah, that was basically what happened that Sunday. I was like, well, damn.
Damn
Okay.
indeed. One.
But other than that, yeah, series are ending. Um, and I think in a week or two, we will be getting summer, and I guess the interesting ones to look out for Oshinoko. If
Oh
you're
my god.
interested in fairy tale, I mean fairy tale, the 1,000 years is
That
coming
shit's
out.
coming back. Tower of God's coming back.
Yeah. Um.
Uh, DC's Isekai Squad anime. Whoa, damn, definitely fucked up the title. Isekai Suicide Squad. There we go.
There you go.
That's coming, which I'm
That's
cautiously
supposed.
optimistic about that because I'm like, hey, if this is good, maybe you might get a Flash anime. That's what I heard at least.
We'll see.
You know something I didn't know? I didn't know Near Automata was the two core anime. So that's interesting. The fact that part two is coming out next season. Ooh.
Other than that, I mean that's all I
Yeah,
know. I'll just
yeah.
have to definitely look out and see. But yeah, most series are coming to an end
Pretty
for
sure
their
Slime
season.
is still continuing, right? That's gonna be a 24 episode season, or
Either this week or next week is gonna be done.
really?
It depends. Well, I'll have to double check, but it
I can check that
depends.
right now. Oh, Konosuba. I'm pretty sure Konosuba just finished, actually.
Yeah, Konosuba finished this week.
Ooh, your boy is about to get in there. Let's see. Where is it? Slime. No, Slime is 24 episodes, so it's still going.
Still going.
Yeah.
So Slime is gonna carry till next.
And My Hero as well. And did you hear that Demon Slayer is supposedly? I really hope this is not true. I hope it's not true. But supposedly the Infinity Castle arc is going to be split into three films.
Yo, Demon Slayer and their films. Am I right?
Nah, for real, bro. Like, oh, they do it the most now. But all right, I think that's a good spot to end it. You know, if you have any closing thoughts,
I will say, hopefully, after it's hard to like measure the success of Delicious and Dungeon, but if Netflix is planning on continuing to release anime, I hope they pick new series and follow that formula where they provide good animation and good production with directing, and they also release it weekly with both sub and dub. And maybe then, you might see either some changes or more folks being interested in anime in Netflix. But
honestly, I think I think it's I think it's more of the studio, right? Because all of the yeah, all of the really good Netflix anime, not all of them actually, most of the really good Netflix anime are coming from Studio Trigger. You know,
oh yeah,
Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which I know you still haven't checked out, and you're probably not going to, but I will, in vain, suggest you watch it because it's really good. DNA, that was also really good. Little Witch Academia, my God, oh wow, I haven't thought about that in a while. That was really good. And now we have Dungeon Meshi, which was made by them. That was really good. And like I don't know, maybe it's just that studio. They like producing hits for Netflix.
oh hell yeah.
Yeah, they also actually made some stuff for Disney Plus. You know, they did work on Star Wars Vision, but a lot of studios worked on that, so it's kind of a moot point. But another really good one, uh, The Great Pretender. That was a really good Netflix anime. But yeah, I agree with you, bro. Netflix, if they use the blueprint, that they've had multiple successes, but they've also had a lot of flops. But if they just keep this
Hmm.
momentum going with how they're managing Dungeon Meshi, then I don't think there's really anything to be worried about when it comes to the future of anime on Netflix.
Yeah, I agree. And you'll just have more and more people being able to enjoy new episodes weekly
Hmm.
at the same time. with
Hmm.
their own preferences as well.
Exactly. Spur discussion, keep the hype rolling, and maybe you even make more money in the end because the more people talk about it, brings more eyes to your product. Sort of like
It's true.
how nah, I was gonna segue to the boys, but that's the topic for another time. So all right,
Fair enough.
with that, countercast